Okay, do not lie to me. Is it worth getting into Elden Ring even right now?
Sorry about the angle of this. I'm getting ready for bed. I'm not. Putting on clothes. Um, yes, obviously, I'm gonna say yes as a response to this, but I want to talk about why, because that's what you were wanted in this video. Why should you get into it as someone who's never played a Soulsborne game before? Well, this is unique for me too because Elden Ring was my first real Soulsborne game, kind of. I gave Dark Souls 1 a try back in the day. Granted, it was the Prepare to Die edition, which was obviously a worse game than the remastered, which I should have played. Elden Ring was the first one I genuinely tried, and I loved it. Let me explain why. For anybody who grew up during, before the era of microtransactions and live services became commonplace, who played games during the 2000s generally, especially someone who was a kid during the early 2000s, or even the 90s, 80s, and 90s, you would get a game that was crap. It was shovelware. It was a game that your parent says, my kid likes that franchise. That's a video game he would like. I'm going to get that for him. And because we had no money and we didn't really have a choice of the games that we got, and there were some of these games that were almost unplayable. And you would throw your head at a brick wall at these tough as nails games over and over again. And it wasn't even just the shovelware games. Games like Crash Bandicoot 1 were hard as hell. And you would spend hours and hours and hours with your not as fine-tuned motor skills, because you're a kid, trying to beat these games, getting more and more angry and frustrated and disheartened until you finally, like through muscle memory, do it. And then you feel that feeling of euphoria. That is what it's like to beat a boss that you've been struggling with in Elden Ring. But it's controlled to such an extent that, if I'm being honest, you're not gonna, be suffering for a super duper long time. Because one of the nice parts about, granted, some of these bosses, when it's your first Fromsoft game, you genuinely do struggle with for hours. But when you're done, it feels amazing. And you cannot wait for the next one. That's usually my big sell. Another reason why I say, and this is a little more technical, that I think you should get into Elden Ring right now if you haven't already. FromSoft games now if you haven't already. Is because Elden Ring, and I've talked about this in other videos at length, is all about exploration first. Exploration is how you get more powerful. When in previous FromSoft games, perseverance was how you got more powerful. In Dark Souls and in Bloodborne, in Sekiro to an extent. No, actually, definitely with Sekiro to an extent. Sekiro is the most prime example of this. Yeah, you can explore. Yeah, you can find different tools. Yeah, you can find new weapons, new armor, consumables, MacGuffins for certain bosses. But ultimately, you're going to exhaust the area around the boss. And the only way forward is through. And you're going to have to get good. Now, that's not to say that there aren't moments that you're just going to have to get good in Elden Ring. There absolutely are. But the floor is a lot lower. Because unlike in prior games, there is so much area to cover. If you're having a hard time with Margit, the first boss, there are 1, 2, 3 separate distinct regions that you can go explore filled to the brim with skills, spells, weapons, armor, consumables, crafting materials. There's crafting in this now. All that you can be used, ostensibly, to beat the boss. Cheesing a boss is completely valid despite what the Puritans in the community will say. Fundamentally, if it's in the game, it's there for your disposal. And the really nice thing about it is that even if you're not deliberately looking for something to cheese the boss, while you're exploring, you're going to be killing enemies. You're going to be fighting weaker bosses. You're going to find new gear. You're going to find new, passives. All of these things are so important and critical. Why? Well, because you walk up to that boss at level 20, get your shit pushed in, do that for about 3 hours, get tired of it, say, I'm going to go in this other opposite direction and explore. You beat a bunch of enemies, you level up quite a few times, you find a new weapon, you find some upgrade materials for that new weapon. And you go back and like, okay, it's been a minute, maybe I can give the boss a shot. And you kill him in like 8 hits. That's Elden Ring. In previous Fromsoft games, there was kind of like a ceiling limit on being able to deal enough damage to a boss after going around and exploring. Eventually, you just had to get good. In Elden Ring, it's open. You can go and grind and explore as much as you want, and that will get you some levels. And similar to other previous FromSoft games, weapon upgrade materials, are a more easy way of getting immediate damage than levels. And in the later game, levels are definitely more stats are actually much more critical. But starting out, your levels, upgrade quality matters so much more. And you can and before you even get your first remembrance boss, you can legitimately get a weapon to +5, a normal non-special weapon to maybe +10, and you can get to a special weapon to maybe +5, which is triple the amount of damage it was doing at base level. Pair that with whatever scaling you get off of your stats, you're going to be ruining stuff. The great thing about Elden Ring compared to other FromSoft games is that if you are a bad player, like me, you can still go through almost the entire game. It is the best thing about Elden Ring is it feels like a journey. The game is built in such a way that you never know how big the world actually is until you have the entire map unlocked. And up until that point, everything is a vista. Everything is wild and new. And the way that they use the assets, while they aren't the most pretty assets on the planet, the way that they use them to build this world feels grand and hopeful and vast and amazing. And it is a game that, as you play through it and discover more, it's an experience similar to the Outer Wilds that you can't really get again. And if you like the combat, Night Rain's also an option, which is all the great things about Elden Ring combat, but faster. I hope I was able to give 3 solid reasons for you to give Elden Ring a shot. The feeling of the fighting and beating the bosses in the game, the accessibility of it for new players in terms of all the options, and the feeling of going on a journey in a video game, which is something we don't really get to experience often anymore. Hope I was able to help. Toodles.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at himedia.gg/discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at himedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.